Wearing an Arby's t-shirt, Sophie Cunningham unintentionally took over the WNBA news cycle. 800,000 were sold with just one tagline and one shirt. Suddenly, the league's ticket sales are being surpassed by a fast food business. This kind of ridiculousness is impossible to script. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is silent, sulky, and most likely browsing through her mentions, wondering why her jersey isn't selling out. In some ways, what began as a humorous incident has revealed the WNBA's largest marketing issue. Furthermore, it's not. Curly fries. The league's contrived branding machine was completely destroyed by the unadulterated authenticity of that one woman. Sophie wore more than just the top. She made the news. Comment Red Hot Sophie if you agree with her. Come on. The t-shirt designed by Sophie Cunningham became a marketing sensation. One of the most well-known WNBA players now is Sophie Cunningham, who plays for the Indiana Fever. She also showed up for Barbie night sporting a blouse that read, "Hot girls eat Arby's," and the internet went crazy. Here's the actual backstory, though. Sophie had uploaded a video review of Arby's a few months prior, and she is just being herself in the video. That puppy also became very popular. I believe I will give Arby's a perfect score of 9 out of 10. After this, the adage "hot girls eat Arby's" began to circulate. As it happens, Arby's has been making this claim since 2023. At some point, the WNBA's priorities changed. Basketball is less important than brand conflicts, Instagram side eyes, and getting viral for anything. Aside from real hoops, the scoreboard seems unimportant. The stat sheet is not required. However, the drama is a full-time job. Instead of counting down to the next bucket, it seems as though the shot clock is counting down to the next tweet. Sophie Cunningham is igniting the internet in the midst of this basketball and reality show hybrid, with an Arby's tee and little PR glitz, rather than a highlight reel crossover. No elaborately choreographed TikTok dances or prearranged drama, just charm and curly fries. She served it out hot and fresh without even trying in a league that was desperate for authenticity. And for whatever reason, it struck more forcefully than any buzzer beater this season. With the Indiana Fever, we know someone who has become absurdly popular this season. By the end of the season, I predicted she would be this team's second most popular player. Naturally, there was also the significant incident that occurred during the Connecticut Sun game. She was also referred to as Caitlin Clark's enforcer by the end of that game. Correct. The one that's retrieved her. If I'm being completely honest, there are times when it seems like the only thing that has her back. The isolation plays are not being run by her. The truth is being isolated by her. Pure Sophie, no Photoshop filters, no glam squad touch-ups, no PR gimmick masquerading as personality. On the one side, the league's marketing plan. On the other, curly fries. Players like Angel Reese, on the other hand, are posting TikToks that resemble a Love and Basketball edition film more than a professional one, fabricating beefs for clicks and pursuing clout like it's a loose rebound. Iltez consume food. She's not bothered, Sophie. Straightforward conversation. 800,000 shirts flying off the shelves like a common-sense clearance sale, and no gimmicks or thirst traps. In an image-obsessed league, she's winning by being authentic, which is risky. And it seems to be the game's most unstoppable move. Let's discuss Arby's. She is now employed with Arby's. Concluded that it was a marriage made in heaven for roast beef. Gorgeous women consume Arby's. Not to disparage Arby's. I'll take you to racks if you give Arby's a perfect score. Sophie, I'll purchase some racks for you. Additionally, I believe that attractive women most likely eat racks. As it happens, Sophie Cunningham is the new spokesperson for Arby's. Yes, exactly. Using social media, Sophie Cunningham talked about how much she loved her visit to Arby's. It's like if someone opened a window to breathe some fresh air of honesty into a stuffy room. A few glued-on lashes were knocked loose based on some side-eye reactions, due to the fact that the league becomes agitated when players like Sophie Cunningham begin to get genuine, unscripted fan affection. The selected Instagram sorority does not include her. After a 2 for 10 shooting night, she is not dancing in the middle of the night. Furthermore, She isn't clinging to staged bestie moments in order to appear in a WNBA promotional film. Off-brand and off-script, Sophie seems to be just the kind of fresh air fans have been seeking. Over the past day, Copy Cunningham has disrupted the internet in a number of ways. Okay, well, let's be honest, this Barbie was there the day before the Chicago Sky game. Sophie Cunningham would probably be the first person you would choose for the role of Barbie. People are drawn to her because of this. Because Sophie is simply present in a league that is overrun with performance art. No layers of filters, no wigs, no personality brainstorming sessions. Just basketball, the unvarnished truth, and an oddly potent Arby's moment. Perhaps that's just what supporters are hankering toward. Real athletes who behave like athletes. Who could have known? The fourth wild concept. Let's get it. Insufficient awareness coupled with an inability to jump. Not that good, I guess. Meow, 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 meow. Yes. Once more. Please do it for me. Meow. Caitlin Clark has the same explanation. Flipped the WNBA story on its head without trying to please anyone. Aaliyah Boston is a walking fact check, which is why she breezes through rubbish. They aren't trying to get viral. Simply by existing and performing, they are becoming iconic. And other people find that frightening since all those smoke and mirror branding techniques start to malfunction as followers begin to gravitate toward the unscripted and unfiltered, forcing an uncomfortable truth. What precisely are we doing here if the WNBA still can't figure out how to make its real stars famous? It's a ridiculous talent. It has a magnetic presence. However, the machine continues to prioritize gimmicks over excellence, haircuts over handles, TikTok clout over toughness, and catchphrases over court vision. And the league is losing far more than simply views as a result of that connection. 700,000 followers in a single day. She had about 300 less than 48 hours ago. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of it. Crazy. The enforcer is here. And dude, she's blogged twice since then. She's really gone overboard. A new stage. Like there's a new star for Caitlin Clark. This is comparable to a new WNBA star. People won't like it, I guess. It won't be well received. Remember what I mean, Trace Leche? Before she was even born, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull were, incidentally, rather enamored with her. It's beginning to resemble a sneaker-wearing beauty pageant more than a sports league. Points and assists are no longer used as the currency. Under stadium lights, it's all about selfies, subweets, and whose nails look the best. The true hoopers, the grinders, the locked-in pros, and those who let their play speak are being overshadowed by all of that commotion. Sophie Cunningham, a teammate of Caitlin Clark, has officially sold out of her jersey on the Fever website. The chippy foul that resulted in some ejections at the end of the game occurred the same week as this. After a strong foul on the opposite end, Caitlin Clark took up the foul as a sort of retaliation. Then right away, the Caitlin Clark haters started a petition on my behalf to get Sophie Cunningham kicked out. By way of the WNBA, the goal is to get people to sign it. They described her behavior tonight as repulsive. Although it was a serious offense, Caitlin Clark supporters are now supporting her and purchasing her shirts in such large quantities that they have officially sold out. Thankfully, I believe this petition has made Sophie Cunningham a new WNBA A-list star. Sophie's moment came as it did for that reason. Unlike an algorithm, this was real. No role to play, no glamorous team to endorse the fit, just a smirk, a vibe, and a t-shirt. You could immediately sense the players' concern since they had based their entire public persona on attitude rather than results. Because Sophie just revealed that people will follow someone who is authentic more quickly than someone who is staged. When that visibility didn't go as planned, the visibility mattered audience abruptly fell silent because nothing reveals the performative more than someone who thrives without the performance. Additionally, I appreciate Sophie's toughness. However, Caitlin Clark was gone for a few days last week. The most incredible beast mode thing I've ever seen a woman do in WNBA history was when Sophie, Caitlin Clark's kid, defended her after she was devastated. Sophie is currently one of my favorites. One of my favorite WNBA players now is her. I also keep an eye on her. I watch Caitlin, for example. Take a look at what she has done. Additionally, I and others might not claim that this was a reaction, or whatever the situation may be. However, Sophie seems to be saying, "Wanna play?" The worst-case scenario for the curated chaos bunch is Sophie Cunningham, a popular among fans without the production. The best part is that Sophie was never the exclusive focus of this. It has to do with her values, a radical change in the true desires of fans. Not sneaker influencers, not basketball rivalry on reality TV, but real athletes who show up, work hard, and don't require weekly showmanship to earn their fame. There was no public relations budget for Sophie's ascent. It was based on honesty, constancy, and just enough eccentricity to make her likable. Why is that dangerous? Perhaps because it demonstrates that the league has been pursuing relatability in the wrong direction all along. Well, I wore that to the arena yesterday. She's right there. Let's just mention this. A Tater report. Huh? She's right there. Gorgeous women consume Arby's. I have no notion, and I can only assume. I would presume that Arby's is involved in some sort of sponsorship. Well, I'm not sure. At this point, the jokes about the roast beef sandwich kind of write themselves. Suddenly, I'm craving a cheddar melt. A fast food t-shirt was all that was required. Additionally, Sophie Cunningham's marketing campaign just beat the WNBA's previous 3 combined. With Simply Sophie, a smile, and a $12 Arby's tea, she garnered more attention than half of the league's celebrities with 3 times the PR budget. There was no media blitz, influencer tie-in, or dramatic look-at-me moment. The story has formally changed, and some brainstorming in the boardroom prevented it from happening. Fans are sick of noise and willing to reward a real person, which is why it happened. Angel Reese sits there salty and silent, wondering why her own merchandise racks are still gathering dust, as Sophie distributes another 100,000 shirts without any problems. All right, new strategy squad. Keep up the good work, Angel. Go rebound her messes, everyone else. At this rate, she continues to go missing. At Denny's, she will be serving buttermilk pancakes. Butter. Has someone mentioned butter? Pecan butter. You have to acknowledge brilliance at some time. On her back was a mebound. Are you serious? Boom. Give me another pray up. How about it burn? Simon asks. On a layup, she really hit under the hoop. Obtain this girl's GPS. Get to your feet, everyone. Meet the most underpaid person of all time. Sportsman. Boom. This wasn't luck. Let's be clear. Sophie didn't just happen to wear an Arby's tee and end up in the spotlight. I went viral, therefore this wasn't an accidental moment. This was simplicity disguised as strategy. Sophie was using relatability and roast beef to play 4D chess, while the other half of the league was busy practicing TikTok dances and sending out passive-aggressive tweets. A steady burn that spread like wildfire. No theatrics, no phony vulnerability. The game plan has since evolved, and some players are rushing to. The old methods are no longer effective, so keep up. In my opinion, being good at basketball, being attractive, and having tenacity are all factors that make you a poor person. Furthermore, I believe that one of the new trends in the WNBA is that, in addition to being skilled basketball players, some of these women will also have a feminine appearance. They used to look like guys, but now they appear to be gorgeous women playing hoops. Additionally, I appreciate Sophie's toughness. Sophie isn't taking chances. Every action is planned. Everything is perfect, including the delivery, tone, and timing. She possesses the brand instincts of Madison Avenue's finest and the emotional intelligence of a skilled negotiator. It's not a gimmick, that Arby's shirt. It was a superb stroke with little effort and great effect, because Sophie is engineering it, while others are performing for clout. The clout chasers are completely shaken by that. It dispels the misconception that in order to attract attention, you need mayhem, rivalries, and never-ending drama. Sophie stayed basic and genuine, making everyone else's mirror and smoke performances appear like cheap scams. The outcome is the same whether she sat down and planned everything out or simply followed her instincts. She is a part of a larger change. Unprecedented attention is being drawn by the Caitlin Clark effect. Respect is being demanded by Aaliyah Boston's supremacy. By being herself rather than attempting to conform to the league's stale model, Sophie is riding that wave. Sophie just shown that in a WNBA that is fixated on controlling the narrative, sometimes the best play is the one that's entirely not scripted. Arby spotted this and thought it was a match made in roast beef heaven, so let's have a look. Like, not too horrible. She said that she was leaving after enjoying her delicious lunch. But it's clear that they weren't deterred by the slight she hurled at them. For obvious reasons, she doesn't have it very often. Sophie, what are those clear-cut reasons? In any case, she is now employed by Arby's. She was the first to notice the shift. She saw Caitlin Clark attract admirers who had no idea what a pick was. And role was the previous year. Without a single forced comment, she witnessed the respect that Aaliyah the Enforcer Boston gained, merely using her game to silence others. Sophie was also aware of the formula: clarity, assurance, and consistency. No sympathy plays or overdone branding. This is where some gamers are losing their minds, though. Angel Ree in particular. Sophie didn't have to use drama or fictitious rivalry to make headlines. She didn't have to make being the face the focal point of her brand while wanting. Caitlin would remain significant because of her name. And the dagger is that Reese discovered that she had simply been the filler episode, despite having built her entire reputation on being the show. Sophie, however, is the one who sells out merchandise and cultivates a devoted following that values her abilities, work ethic, and character rather than her Instagram shade game. That's Sophie Cunningham, as you can see here. At the very least, she is the Caitlin Clark who won Teammate of the Year. Late in a game against the Phoenix Mercury, Caitlin Clark really attacked after being shoved to the ground and stabbed in the eye during the first half. Retaliation from one of the Phoenix Mercury players. Oh, and it was adored by fans. They devoured it due of this. If you pay close attention, you can see that her TikTok following grew from over 300,000, which was fantastic, to about 800,000, and it is likely now at 1 million. The backlash is here, of course. The sidelong glances, the overt jabs, and the rumors that Sophie is simply fortunate or that Caitlin's bringing in new followers is the main reason. As like Sophie hadn't expertly tapped into that new audience. As though this isn't. Converting momentum into something long-lasting is precisely what the league ought to be doing. Rather, the WNBA continues to waste time on marketing strategies that appear to have been created by a group of bewildered influencers. It's nearly humorous. This league begged for attention for years. They finally have it now, thanks to Clark and actual ones like Sophie. But they're struggling because their pre-approved mascots aren't getting the attention they deserve. Sophie isn't even trying to get attention. Since truthfulness is so alluring, it is pursuing her. Admirers is able to smell it via the screen. You can't help but notice how phony everything else seems once you see it. Tonight, Sophie Cunningham's jersey will be sold out. This is what the public has been waiting for. The players will have to act as the enforcers themselves if the referees fail to perform their duties. The referees failed to perform their duties, and the game was chippy from the start. Sophie should be given special treatment by the WNBA, which should use her as a model. This is how you engage with followers without having to sell your spirit. Here are some tips for creating a really sustainable brand. Instead, they portray her as having stumbled into this, as though outwitting a whole system that relies heavily on noise and publicity was simply a case of bad luck. The bad news is that it wasn't luck. It was evidence that a genuine person will always stand out in a league that is suffocated by manufactured storylines. Fans understand. For this reason, they're swarming in, raising their voices, and purchasing her equipment till it's gone. In a league that has been repeating the same old drama for years, Sophie is a welcome change. Sophie is reinventing the celebrity rulebook with her intelligence, substance, and uncompromising candor, while others seek influence by clumsy rivalries and repetitive sound bites. And, much to Angel Reese's dismay, every shirt she sells serves as a reminder that no amount of public relations fluff can match what she has. Comment Red Hot Sophie if you agree with her. To ensure you don't miss anything, like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. We'll see you in the next video. Click the video on the screen.